1982. The country is in the third decade since independence, growing rapidly with the population booming. Was all but a scenario calling for positive thinking, innovation, open-mindedness, and a vision to direct this endearing nation to greatness, including its approach to public and private financial management. This called for important frameworks in regulation and policy towards key sectors such as finance and accounting, including the involvement of more qualified Zambians in these roles. At independence and the several years that followed, all accounting jobs were held by foreigners, and the government's desire of ensuring that citizens held most of these jobs was in full swing. Therefore, the need to train and groom Zambian accountants was an important one, and the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants was to be established later in 1982. In 1970, government introduced the Zambia Diploma in Accountancy (ZDA) through the development of technical education and vocational training (DTEVT) as one of those measures aimed at training and making a Zambian accountant. 1978. Bachelor of Accountancy was launched at Yunza Ndola campus, Yunzando. In 1982, the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants was established through an Act of Parliament that was later repealed in 2008. As stated in its mandate, the Institute is a membership body regulating the accounting profession in Zambia.
It was important that such a body is set up to regulate the conduct of practicing accountants in the country.
In the 1980s, there were accountants working in various industries in the country, and there was no platform to bring those accountants together. At that time, those accountants that were in industry decided to form an association, which is called the Association of Accountants. This worked, and the Zica Act was enacted in 1982.
Without such a body, there is no discipline because each person does their own thing. There is no integrity, there is no probity, there is no accountability to anything because it is free for all. So to stop that, it was necessary to have a regulatory body for all the body of accountants to regulate and guide in the following, like maintain discipline, set standards for the practitioners and workers, and also to ensure issues of integrity and ethics that they were maintained.
We needed to regulate the way that service was being offered to the public. But secondly, we needed also to make sure that the people that we were churning out, the people that were providing this service, were appropriately qualified.
We agreed and resolved that we needed to develop syllabi covering the various levels of the profession, from licensures, technicians, up to the top cream, the management group. And so we engaged, we went into partnership with the ACCA, Association of Certified Chartered Accountants of UK. We felt that as an industrial developing country, we needed to assure investors that those that decided to invest in Zambia, their investment would be assured, accountability would be assured, the books of accounts, the financial reports that were produced by our locally trained Zambians were as reliable as financial reports prepared by accountants elsewhere in the world. That really was the motivating underlying principle which prompted us to proceed with the establishment of an accountants body called the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants in our country.
From the onset, the task of ensuring that the accounting profession was well regulated was no small undertaking. Some of the key features at the beginning were matters related to the quality of accountants, as the country had, as at the beginning of the decade, only 10 qualified accountants.
There were very few qualified accountants to start with in the country. And then, just generally speaking, I think to establish such a body, obviously it needed funding. So we were lucky in that government came in, and some other donors also came in and funded the initial establishment of the institute.
I think when you look at the vision that our founding fathers had way back in the early 80s, it was felt necessary to have a body that will regulate the profession, that will produce high quality accountants, ethical accountants, high quality auditors, and a body that will help drive the profession forward, as well as support the government of the day in achieving its financial management objectives in particular.
In order to enhance and help grow this profession, the Institute also started developing educational structures and curricula that would train the accountant, who was competent and essential in the workplace, as well as remain up to date with changing trends and industry accounting demands.
Accountant's profession was either you had a certificate, which was called then CABS, or you had a diploma, which was then called Zambia Diploma in Accountancy, or you had a degree from the Copperbelt University, or Uzando as they used to call it then. Now the grades and the levels at which each one of these would fit in to be acceptable as accountant or professional accountants created a challenge. And I do know that at the onset, almost everyone was accepted as a member of the institute, and then later on, as the act was being revised, that's when some actually, were either downgraded, that you cannot be a full member, a member that probably would be required to issue an audit opinion because of the level of qualification that you had.
By the mid-90s, the National Accounting Technician (NATIC) qualification was introduced by Zica. It was well received and accepted. By 2007, the Zica accounting qualification was launched, also well received and also recognized by other international accounting bodies.
When you look at Zica, it has all the professional attributes, both local and international. And I'm sure by now, if you look at Zica's links with international bodies, it has links with all international bodies.
Zica was establishing itself as an influential and one of the key bodies of the accounting profession in Zambia, growing its impact regionally and gaining recognition internationally as a member of the global accounting community.
One, which is very important and is very core to our existence, is we produce high quality accountants. We've got a number of courses that we've developed ourselves. These are the Chartered Accountant Zambia, which is a professional qualification. We have the Diploma in Accounting, we have the Diploma in Taxation, we have the Diploma in Public Sector Financial Management. When Zica was first enacted, it did not have any of its own qualifications, and these started coming on much later, and especially for the professional qualification. In the past, our members would write other exams under a joint scheme, the likes of ACCA and CIMA and so on and so forth. But in 2007, we rolled out our own homegrown qualification, which we're very proud of. It's actually being pursued by even from people outside the country. We've got a number of students in Zimbabwe. We've got on our register graduates from the likes of Nigeria, Kenya, India, and so on. So that's one thing, producing high quality accountants. The second pillar obviously is to regulate the profession, to make sure that our accountants, our members, are as ethical as possible and following the IESBA code, which is the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants Code, in all that they do. And we help ensure public trust by making sure that our members are as ethical as possible and comply with the laws. And we do have an independent body within Zica that deals with erring members, with an independent disciplinary committee, which is actually headed by in terms of the Act, it's going to be headed by someone who qualifies to be a High Court judge. So it's actually headed by a lawyer. Both the chairperson and the vice chairperson are lawyers. So it is very, very independent. It actually helps us ensure that there's rigor in enforcement of our ethical code and the accountants.
Zica is now an important member and affiliate of a number of international accounting bodies.
Zica does affiliate itself to various international bodies. The first one that I'll talk about is the International Federation of Accountants, IFAC. This is a global accountancy profession that is dedicated to serving the public's interest and ensuring that the profession is strengthened. It has over 175 members and affiliates, and it's got membership from more than 135 countries, and Zambia is one of them. And it's also the one that is responsible for ensuring that all accountants, doesn't matter where you are compliant with the international accounting standards that are pronounced or established from time to time. Other than IFAC, we also belong to the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, similar to the IFAC principles, only that this is now at a continental level. It's a body made up of countries that are in the Pan-African regions, and it also tries to promote the accountancy profession and the public interest as well. We belong to the CAW, which is the Chartered Accountants Worldwide. I think recently you all may be aware that Zica launched a new accountancy profession course, which is called the CA Zambia. So this is also a platform that Zica uses to market its own qualification, because this CA Worldwide is a global qualification which is well known at international level and a well respected qualification. So most recently, Zambia signed an agreement with 5 other African countries, which include Mozambique, Seychelles, Mauritius, and Malawi. This agreement is to try and promote free trade and services. And one of the services that was identified as a test case as they are rolling out is the accountancy profession. So we are affiliated, or we are in this process of getting accredited.
In 2008, the Accountants Act of 1982 was repealed. This was done in the interest of clearly offering a direction and prescription of who an accountant is, their role and responsibility, and also to safeguard and maintain a high level of competence and ethics in the profession.
When you look at the 1982 Accountants Act, it had a lot of weaknesses. To start with was to regulate the accountants. You actually find in the press every day, a cashier will steal at a filling station. They will call him an accountant. A bank clerk will steal in the bank. They will call him an accountant in court. We had also the problem of the act itself. Who is an accountant? Because they were calling themselves accountants when they were non-accountants. We had to deal with the definition of who is an accountant and how he can hold himself out as an accountant and to deal with also the penalties. We also had to deal with the employers. In the new Act of 2008, we had to bring in the regulation of accountants to ensure that every so-called accountant, according to each class, must be registered and be a member of the institute. Secondly, we had to deal with also foreign accountants. Foreign accountants would come in and go. We also had to regulate them. By regulating them, we said they must pass company law and taxation. They had to sit for their exams. And we had to work with the immigration office to ensure that their work permits are limited and capacitate the local accountants. Thirdly, if they're in practice, we had to make them sit for their practice exams.
In 2013, the Diploma in Taxation program was introduced, further equipping the Zambian accountant with the knowledge and expertise, creating the competence they need to do the job. In 2017, Zica had made another huge milestone when it launched the CA Zambia. This catapults its achievements to a highest level of preparation for a student. As a chartered accountant, the benefits are numerous. Any student preparing for this course is presented with fantastic opportunities that some of their peers may not have the opportunity to see within the same period of time. The Institute had introduced the Public Sector Financial Management Program.
Zica has developed the unique professional qualification that caters for the needs of the public sector. But these accountants and Zica and the nation actually needs your support. We need these people to be taken on board and given the proper training. We are convinced that this will not only reduce government expenditure in retraining accountants in order to align them to public sector requirements.
The World Bank always believed that a good professional body like the Zica, a national professional body, and a critical mass of professional accountants in the country are a precondition for any kind of a good public financial management, a transparent and good governance environment in the country. So we have always taken the profession as an important aspect of the reforms.
Firstly, what we must realize is that the CA brand is an internationally recognized professional accountancy designation. So it's globally respected, and it's a brand that will open a lot of doors for not only accountants that are out there, but even the accountants that are trained by Zica under the CA Zambia program.
Zica embarked on this program because it was noticed that you'd find people with exactly the same qualification but with different competence levels. But with the new CA Zambia qualification, since it's mandatory for everyone to go through a mandatory 3-year training period, which we'll talk about later, we'll have more assurance that anyone calling themselves a CA, he or she is as good as the other CA.
To get into CA, you must have at least a merit in 5 subjects. And other than that, there are people who enter into the program, and these are university graduates. They may be university graduates in accountancy, they may be university graduates in any other, they could be engineers, they can still come on to the program.
Before the qualification was introduced, Zica took time to do a research on the market, find out what are the needs, what are the gaps that are there. There are various qualifications, as you may know, that a professional accountant can pursue, but we did realize that certain times we are having graduates that are not able to deliver when they get into industry. So we needed to come up with a qualification that is globally respected and recognized, that trains and mentors an accountant in the right way. If you look at the membership of Zica, you'll find that over 70% of the members are actually male, meaning that women either shy away. It's not like there's anything to stop them from pursuing this profession, but I think it's just that general fear that accountancy is a very difficult profession because it's associated with numbers, and many people fear anything that has to do with calculations and arithmetic because it seems to be a difficult kind of like profession. But to encourage more and more women to take up this profession, the Forum for Zambia Women Accountants was set up sometime last year in February. And the reason why this forum was founded is the realization among women that there are more and more women that kind of like are excelling in their different professions, but there are less that are entering the accountancy profession. So we want to promote the profession among women and ensure that we can mentor the young girls that are entering secondary school at the time when they're deciding which profession they'll follow. They should be able to join the accountancy profession.
Zica has become over the years a very important voice to government and other stakeholders on the matters of accounting, regulation of the profession, membership and ethics, ensuring a professional and healthy accounting profession that will be efficient and thorough in practice.
There was a deliberate decision by government that we needed to establish an institution to create rules or oversee the development of the accountants profession in Zambia, and therefore the Accountants Act, as per the amendment in 2008, provides for Zica to certify qualifications, both local and foreign, either offered by Zica, the membership body, or any other person in the country. Zica has the mandate on the regulatory wing to ensure that it meets the requirements of the public in terms of the training of accountants. At the time of 2008 Act, I think on average the number of members were in the region of 300, and right now we are knocking into over 6,000 members, which I think is quite a major development. In the past, when you go for elections, you are basically sharing positions. This time is a highly competitive event. We're going to the AGM, you are talking about 200, 300 people. Now we are talking about 1,000 plus people attending the AGM. I must mention that we used to operate from Findeco House, and from Findeco House we moved into Rhodes Park at 24 Joseph Mwira Road, and from a house we have moved into our spacious offices, which I think is an important development. There were on average, starting with 7 people as employees of the Institute. Right now we're talking about 39 members of staff within Zica. In terms of students, we started from 0, and right now the number of graduates who have gone through a number of our programs, because we have quite a number which I will make reference to in a minute. I think the number is now over 1,000 people have gone through our programs. Because we needed to ensure that the accountants are not just trained in their primary area of accountancy, we decided that we must introduce what we call the add-on, value add-on programs. In addition to diploma in accountants and CA Zambia, we also have a diploma in taxation. We also, in addition to that, we have a tailor-made program for the public sector, a diploma in public sector financial management, which I think is quite an important development.
The Institute has become an important pedestal of the accounting profession in Zambia, the region, and on the global stage.
The vision at the time was to bring the Zambian accountants into an umbrella that was both regulatory and legislative. And sitting here today and looking back, I feel very, very happy that we did achieve that vision. As I'm preparing to retire, I know that we did something commendable to the profession of accountancy in Zambia.
A profession is constantly evolving, so challenges are still coming up. We are all going e-commerce, so everything is done electronically, so we have to move on and be on board. So it to some extent, Zica has moved on. It's got its own professional qualification now. You don't necessarily need to do the foreign professional accountant's qualification for you to be recognized as a chartered accountant. And we are proud to be associated with that, and more especially as the University of Lusaka, because we've been part and parcel of the development of the curriculum.
The membership contributions are enough to run the institute. Zica itself now has got enough office space, and I think you can come and tell me which other institution or membership board in this country has got such nice offices as Zica. I think you can bear me witness. Very laborious offices, thanks to those that lobbied to get the funding to build those offices. Now Zica is even going into investments to try and cushion the membership fees. We're going into investing, in property investments, like putting up the Shungo Namtitima facility in Livingstone, extending the office block, which will be part of it, will be for rental, putting up an office block on the Copper Belt. And in terms of a number of accountants, I think you have a number of accountants. It becomes difficult actually to get foreigners just to come and take up Zambian jobs.
To bring the Zambian accountant to the highest quality of training, innovation, and competitiveness as any other international recognized accounting qualification. In 1964, all accounting jobs were held by foreigners. In 1970, government introduced the Zambia Diploma in Accountancy, ZDA, through the Department of Technical Education and Vocational Training, DTEVT. 1978, Bachelor of Accountancy, launched at Yunza Ndola Campus, Unzando. By 1982, the Accountants Act was enacted and we had 10 professional accountants. And in 1995, NATEC was introduced and well received and accepted.
What the NATEC program did for my career was to help me have a solid foundation, even as I started out my career in finance. And because of the course content, it exposes you to all aspects of accounting and audit work, including taxation.
2007, the Zica accountancy program was introduced. 2008, the Accountants Act was repealed. In 2013, Diploma in Taxation was launched. April 2017, Public Sector Financial Management. August 2017, CA Zambia and Diploma in Accountancy. Zica, integrity, professionalism, and excellence.